Yo, Philly 254 living life. Back at it. It's been a while. It took a while, but I got it here. So we're going to take a look at how well does Baldur's Gate play on both the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally. So right now what we're looking at is the Ally gameplay footage. As you can see, it looks pretty decent. Not too shabby whatsoever. I didn't actually change anything. I let it just run with all its default settings when launching the game, and I didn't notice any slowdown or anything like that to any real degree at all. It was pretty smooth. It's pretty smooth. And with that being said, and well, let's put it this way: it's kind of like a how well does it play, and what's up with it, you know? So I'm just gonna throw that out there. So with that being said, the game is pretty fun. The game was pretty fun. I did a lot of my gaming on ROG Ally, and you'll see why when I get to the Steam Deck portion of the video. But I did, when I say a lot, pretty much the majority of my gaming with the ROG Ally when playing this game versus the Steam Deck. And like I said, you'll see in a minute. But as far as how much I enjoy it, I definitely enjoyed it. I had a few buddies and a few friends, and who was kind of interested in the game, wondering is it fun or not. And I'll tell them, well, I'll tell you just like I told them, if you're cool with turn-based combat, you'll enjoy the game. If you don't like turn-based combat, you like your action games, there's nothing wrong with that, of course. You're not gonna, this is not gonna change your mind. Well, it could. The story's pretty good. The story's pretty decent. I have not completely beat the game yet, so don't spoil me. But definitely, the story's pretty good, and the way the game the choices in this game is crazy, man. I used to tell my friends, told a lot of my friends, man, think of like Skyrim with the choices and what you can do on steroids, and then add in turn-based combat, of course. Man, I'm gonna tell you right now. So this gameplay, as you can see, it's kind of later on in the game. I think it's in the beginning of Act 3, maybe towards the end of Act 2. I can't remember. But the actual choices I made. So I'll tell you right now, my party is basically the 4 people, me and 3 other people, because the choices I made were stupid. I was kind of doing the evil gameplay, but I messed a lot of that up, and so a lot of people, and some of the companions that I missed out on wasn't even fully because of I consciously decided to make choices. It was just because I didn't understand the ramification of my choices until later on. I didn't feel like going back. So with that being said, this game does allow save scumming. If you don't know what save scum is, basically you can pretty much do a quick save or a save at any point in the game, even during cutscenes, right before a vital conversation or choice during a conversation has to occur. You can do a quick save, make that choice, see where it goes, and then you know what? I don't like this, and jump back to that save and make a different choice. You can do that. That's totally, and I ain't here to tell nobody, whether or not they should. Hell, I did it. I ain't gonna lie. So I'm not here to tell anyone whether or not they should save scum. You play whatever way you enjoy the game is however way you should play it. Real talk. But it does allow that. So, but sometimes I didn't save scum. Sometimes I forgot. Whatever. So at the same point, I made a lot of choices that, especially towards the beginning, I was still learning the game and learning how deep some of these choices can really affect my gameplay. I made a lot of bad choices, some on purpose, some not on purpose, but I made a lot of bad choices. So my part is basically who you see. so it is what it is, y'all. I'm living with that. I'll probably come through with another playthrough later on. Probably not immediately because Starfield's coming out, Mortal Kombat 1's coming out. There's a lot of stuff coming out that I'm ready for. So Phantom Liberty is coming too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out, so I may not get jumped back in to another game, but I decided to go ahead and ride this playthrough out, finish it up, you know what I'm saying, and then come back later on and make some better choices. Now that I kind of have a better understanding of how deep your choices can go. It's all about choices. I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna jump into the actual Steam Deck footage so you can kind of see the difference. So real quick, I will say this, like I said, repeat, I really didn't change anything, not at all. Well, the one setting I did change, it's not on here, but this game does have gameplay, is gamepad compatible. So this is ROG Ally. Didn't make any changes as far as what game gamepad configuration in Steam I'm going to use or whatever. I just bought the game, which I already had, and downloaded it and called it a day. And it's gamepad compatible. Now there is an option in the actual menu that gives it tells the game which version of the game you want to play. When I say which version, I mean what type of, like, you want to use the gamepad or mouse and keyboard, and then it has an automatic setting that automatically just detects. On the RGLI, and I would even argue the Steam Deck as well, I would tell it I would hard set it to the actual gamepad, because when you have it on automatic, it will detect the, RGLI's controls and whatnot, but every now and then it would switch to straight up keyboard and mouse for a second, and I had to press a couple of buttons, like, the XYZ, buttons or whatever, for it to realize, oh yeah, this is not a keyboard and mouse. So that was a pain at the very beginning. Eventually I realized, just go ahead and just go in there into the settings and set it to just flat out say, no, I'm only gonna want gamepad. The only thing about that is I can't figure out how to make it save. So the setting, you can set it, save your game, whatever, and then next time I launch the game, it's right back to being automatic. So just, FYI, that is kind of weird. Maybe it's been changed in recent hotfix they've had on it, but as of last I can remember or check, I still have to go back and mandatorily set it as gamepad. So whatever. Let's jump over to the actual Steam Deck so that you can kind of see some of the differences here. Here we go. We got that Steam Deck going, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's rough. It's definitely rough. Now what you're seeing right now, so when I first loaded it up, the Steam Deck version, I let it just run like I always do, just run whatever defaults are gonna, the game is set as deemed fit. And we was running frames per second. We were running in like the low teens, the pre-teens, the 12s, 11s, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we might get lucky, hit an 18. So by default, this game is set on high everything, and the Steam Deck cannot handle high everything. So what I ended up having to do, and I just kind of went to the basic global option for your visual settings. You can break it down further, but when I went on ProtonDB to look at all the different, some of the settings to see what we might be optimized, there was all over the place. There were some people saying they just jumped in there and they were playing it straight up on high everything, had no issues. I'm like, bruh, quit lying. So what I did is went to the global, and first I set it to low, and low, which is it definitely played, no issues, frame per second, knocking it out the park pretty much, but it looked horrible, like beyond horrible. And again, I was playing on an RGLI, and it looked pretty damn good on RGLI. All right, so I go from that to just, I'm seeing every single individual pixel, like that ain't happening, homie. So I went to the global settings and set the medium to see how well it was able to handle it. And it didn't handle as well as it did with low. It was still kind of fluctuating with the 30s, between the 30s and high 20s, but at least it was, I can handle that. I'll roll with that. I'll take that because I can't go low. But on the medium, everything is extremely blurry, man. So if you don't know what to look for, I suppose, if you just jump in here and you hadn't played on anything else, or you haven't seen any footage, I suppose, and you might be okay with the blurry. But when I had the RLGLI and I've been playing it for since the game dropped, and then I go to a blurry mess, that's pretty much what I'm gonna call it. I couldn't do it. So with that being said, I had to go ahead and make some choices, and the choices I made is I'm gonna go keep playing on the RLGLI. But at least it is playable on the Steam Deck. It's just not the prettiest, I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'm a Steam Deck man, but I'm gonna be honest with you. We all know Steam Deck, when it came out, it's hardware wasn't gonna stand up to every brand new game that comes out. And this is an example. Starfield, when it drops, I'm gonna try it on Steam Deck too, and I don't know how well it's gonna play, or if it will play on Starfield. So that's gonna be, I'll find out. You know what I'm saying? But as far as this is concerned, it was pretty rough. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it by the time I get through doing this, but there's a moment where my little dude has this is earlier in my save settings, by the way, some of my older saves before I really messed up my game. You know what I'm saying? By pretty much just making all the wrong decisions I can make. But you will notice, and if it gets there, you'll see it. I did a vine whip attack, and because these settings everything is set to just flat out medium, probably something might be set to low, but I think they're all just set to medium because it was a global setting. it just looked weird and flat compared to the actual Vine Whip attack that, you know, I could see, like, if I were to do it on like the Ally or whatever, or if you do it on any other system that can play the game at a better settings. So there's going to be some weird graphical things you're going to notice. From what I understand, a lot of it too is not just flat out the Steam Deck not being able to handle the game. From what I understand, there's been some optimization issues with Proton and whatnot. A lot of those have been resolved with some of the recent updates to Proton and hot fixes to the game itself from Larian. But I remember, from what I remember seeing when the game first dropped, the Steam Deck was just having a lot of trouble with it. Like, there was a lot of different, you know, things people were trying to do to get it play at least decently, you know. So a lot of that has been, I guess, I won't say remedied. Yeah, I won't say remedied with some of these fixes that's coming out from both on the Proton side and Larian side, but I think there's still a ways to go. But of course, those optimizations, those changes, software changes and updates can only go so far, and the Steam Deck can only do what it can do, right? We're gonna be real with it, you know. So that's just something to think about. Just something to think about. One other thing, and I'm gonna post it on. I might post it up because now it's starting to escape my mind. Now I'm thinking about it. But when you launch the game, you want to, before the game actually starts, it launches Larian's little game launcher, and it gives you an option if you want to play it on DirectX 11, whatever, or Vulkan. I want to say you want to play it on Direct, but it could be Vulkan. I can't remember. I'm gonna post it up here. It's already probably posted as I'm saying this, but you want to choose the correct option because it just works better with the Steam Deck when you choose the correct one. Just FYI. As far as, like I said, I didn't go super far into the game. I just kind of went back to one of my old saves and kind of just played and kind of messed around a little bit to see how it felt. So I can't say how far certain things got as far as when things really got hectic. This is kind of early in the gameplay. I can't say how things got hectic, how things looked, or how the game played when things really got hectic, when there was a lot of enemies, a lot of spells going on crazy on the screen. But I imagine there's still gonna be some frame rate drops. I mean, it's gonna be real with you. This is all you got to play it on, you know, get it how you live. But if you got other options, I would probably think about doing those other options. Just gonna be honest with you, man. Me personally, I got the Li. I'm gonna play it on the Li. Throw it out there. I'm still a Steam Deck main, but I gotta be realistic with it. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, the game itself, as I was mentioning earlier, it's fun as hell. What's up with it? It's a fun ass game. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to play it. I got all these other games coming up. I recently got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so I got to get that going. So I don't have a lot of time to really go into it like I want to, but I'm definitely gonna circle back around to it for a second gameplay or second playthrough or whatnot. And that's where we're at. If you like more Steam Deck and ROG Ally news, walkthroughs, lives, gameplays, reviews, like and subscribe. Cruise through the playlist. And I'm out.